Welcome to Reflections, a program where we discuss virtues and values for the transformation of the individual and the society at large. I am Father George Ehusani. I begin this episode by reading Romans chapter 8 from verse 31 to 39. What then are we to say about these things? If God is for us, who is against us? He who did not withhold his own Son, but gave him up for us all, will he not with him also give us everything else? Who will bring any charge against God's elect? It is God who justifies. Who is to condemn? It is Christ Jesus who died, yes, who was raised, who is at the right hand of God, who indeed intercedes for us. Who will separate us from the love of God in Christ? Will hardship, or distress, or persecution, or famine, or nakedness, or peril, or the sword? As it is written, for your sake we are being killed all day long. We are accounted as sheep to be slaughtered. No, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. For I am convinced that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor rulers, nor things present, nor things still to come, nor powers, nor heights, nor depth, nor anything else in all of creation will be able to separate us from the love of God made visible in Christ Jesus. With God, all things are possible. And with God on our side, any challenge can be overcome by the believer. It is on that note that I introduce my guest today. My guest today is Dr. Chris Nwanoro. Dr. Chris, let me have your hand.
Thank you, Father. It's a pleasure, Father.
Dr. Chris Nwanoro is visually impaired, but visually impaired, and he has achieved what is like a dream for many who have their eyesights all in place. Dr. Chris Nwanoro has a PhD in international relations. He studied in this country, Nigeria. He studied in the University of Abuja and Uyo. Yes. University of Uyo. And he did his first degree in Uyo, the second degree in Uyo, history and
international studies.
History and international studies. Then the master's is history
international relations.
International relations. And the PhD is
international
in
relations.
International relations. Now, and it is amazing that he did all that in this country. And he was not born blind. Dr. Nwanoro was already in the university. Which year?
Year 3.
In year 3 in the university when he became blind. Yeah. That was a major setback. And that could throw anyone overboard and forget about education. Dr. Nwanoro was not deterred. He swung into doing whatever must be done so that he can continue his education, so that he can live meaningfully. And as a believer, with God on our side, can blindness be against us? No.
Oh.
Chris.
Yes, Father.
I'm happy to have you in the studio. And our viewers and listeners are happy to have you and listen to you. Just a brief biodata of Dr. Nwanoro. You became blind when you were in the university.
Yes.
1977,
1995.
1995.
Yes.
And you continued.
Yes.
And went to learn Braille.
Yes. And all
other skills that you needed to learn to function as a visually impaired person?
Yes, I did.
And how many years did you lose in the university?
I lost 2 years.
Only 2 years?
Yes.
I mean, that is phenomenal. Meaning you graduated 2 years more,
yes.
you graduated?
Yes.
Wow. And how did you manage? You mean the professors, the lecturers, how did they quickly go to learn Braille to read your stuff? How?
It wasn't an easy thing anyway, but just like we said, with God, everything is possible.
Yes.
And in most cases, some people think or they believe that it's not easy, that it's not possible for them to get to where God have destined for them. But as a believer, I know that with God on my side, everything is possible.
Where God has destined for you, you
Yes.
are bent on reaching there.
That was my target, and that's exactly what I'm still working on up to today. I'm not tired, and I'm still ready, and I'm working. So when I went back to school, when I lost my sight, it wasn't an easy thing. It was a big challenge. My professors were worried. How are we going to accommodate this person? How are we going to handle him? Even after my learning Braille, I said, is it possible? I was still doubting my capabilities and my strength to return back to school. But because I have trust in God, I did my best. I studied the Braille within a very short period. It takes about 3 years to study Braille, but I learned it in a very short while. Because when I got back, I went to study Braille. All hands were on deck. The students, the teachers, everybody, they were so happy to see me. They were supportive. Yes. They assisted me. So after learning Braille, I went back to school. The university authority were worried. My professors, how can we do this? Can you write? Can you Braille? Can you type? Though there's something unique. We happened in the course of learning the Braille, I learned how to type.
Learned how to type?
Yes, I learned how to type because that's the only way I can communicate with a sighted person. Yeah. But for myself and those who are visually impaired, I can communicate with them through Braille.
So you learned typing so well as to be able to, without seeing the keyboard?
Well, I was able to master the keyboard so fast. Those who taught me typing, I learned and typed faster than them.
Mm-hmm. So once
I place my hand on the home keys, the keyboard, it doesn't take me time. I type very, very fast.
Wow.
Even in the course of the exam, I'll be finished my listening before anybody else. I'm the only one that was challenged. I was visually impaired among my colleagues.
Wow. So this is amazing, and our listeners and viewers will be interested in knowing that. So you get the questions, and then you do your studies. Yes. However, you manage to find stuff that you can use Braille to read, and then you now respond to the questions with
type.
You mean you are in the hall with others who are sighted?
I sit in the hall with everybody else during the exam. I don't have any special place to stay.
So no special.
There's no special attention. There's no special concession. Nothing given to me. I write. The only thing is I stay out so that my machines will not disturb them.
Yeah, the sound of your machine.
The sound of my machine. So I either stay in front or I stay behind. So that's how.
And you type away.
I record it. I have my midgets. Yes. I record the questions.
Yes.
Play it.
Yes.
Listen to it.
Yes.
Answer the question through typing. That's how I do it.
Praise the Lord. I mean, and then you scale through. You pass your exams.
Sincerely, something unique happened. When I was in school, because of other social activities, my participation in students' union at government and others, I observed when I lost my sight, I improved tremendously than the time I have sight.
Yes. Okay, because when you had the sight, these eyes can lead us into trouble.
So many things.
When you had the sight, you were distracted with so many things.
So many activities.
So many activities. And then when you didn't have the sight, you focused on what we went to the university for.
Exactly.
Fully.
Because I was fully indulged and involved in my activities in the school academics when I lost my sight. And now I observe because formerly I never knew the blind people can go to school. I only thought that they are meant to be beggars. So I used to see them on television.
And many people still think so.
Yeah, that was the belief of the people. So when it's happened, I said, no, I prayed. I said, God, if you can save me out of this dilemma, I think I'll be able to leave a mark in the sand of times. So I'll do my best, not only to help myself, but to help those who will come after me and those who have the same challenge with me. So I bent down, I studied, I read more than anybody else.
So you are telling me that there are enough material for the visually impaired to read, to study, to pass history, to pass international studies. There are enough material available.
One thing unique is that Nigerians are very wonderful people.
Okay.
In the university, when I lost my sight, everybody became my friend.
Everybody was ready to help.
Everybody was ready to help.
Oh, we need to give a round of applause to our people.
Yes, they are so wonderful. Both boys and girls, everybody wants, Chris, what can I do for you? Chris, do you want me to come and read your lectures for you to record them? When I'm going to lecture with my Ken, they say, no, Chris, let me come and take you to the lecture hall. So they did a lot to assist me, and I utilized the opportunity wonderfully. Yes.
God bless them.
Yes.
So you had the initial support when you returned to school.
Yes.
You know, they say that when people experience trauma, one easy part, the fastest path to recovery from trauma is social support.
Yes.
Social support, the support of family, the support of colleagues, the support of friends. So you are telling us that you actually experienced that.
Of course, my family, all of them gave me 100% support. My colleagues and the students in the school, my co-students, they were all supportive. So I record all my lectures. I go to libraries. After reading, I'll record them, come back and turn them into Braille. I will transcribe them into Braille for my personal use.
Yes.
In case of my cassette having problem, I will not be able to lose my information.
So immediately,
Yes.
by the grace of God, you had the resources to acquire all the equipment to
it wasn't
produce.
easy. It wasn't easy. It was very expensive. All the same, but my family tried to get all those equipment for me, and I made adequate use of them.
God bless
by using
them.
it to improve myself.
God bless them. So you graduated in history and international studies in 1977.
No,
1997.
1997 was when I graduated.
Yes, beg your pardon, 1997.
Yes.
And then you did a short stint in Shell for your NYSC.
NYSC, yes.
In Shell.
In Shell.
And
that was 1998. 99, I was given a job. Because I was the best copper.
Oh, by the best copper.
I was the best
copper.
So
the River State government gave you a job.
Automatic as the best copper in River
Oh,
State.
you won the award of the
best copper
best copper of
award,
the state.
Of the state, yes.
In
1998. Yes.
And then they gave you a job
automatic.
In the Ministry of Women Affairs.
Yes, and Social Development.
And Social Development.
Yes.
Then later you worked in the Ministry of Sports and Social Development.
That because of the changes, these are within a short period, from Women Affairs and Social Development, Sports and Social Development, Government House, and all that until finally we are called in Abuja for an automatic job.
Okay. So after Women Affairs, Ministry of Sports and Social Development, then you worked in the Government House.
Yes, in Port Harcourt.
In Port Harcourt.
Up
to 2003.
Yes.
Good. And then at that time, you were also beginning to pursue your master's.
I've already started my master's immediately.
You started immediately?
Immediately. I started my master's. Immediately I finished in the course of my youth service, I already applied for my master's.
And you were running between Port Harcourt and Uyo?
Yeah, I was running through the same period.
Many sighted people are not able to run those distances to pursue master's degree.
It wasn't an easy thing. But I was highly determined to do it.
There was some fire burning inside you that doesn't seem to be burning in the hearts of many people.
It wasn't easy. It's determination. Anyway.
Determination. That's the word, determination.
Yes.
Good. You were determined to reach, you said you were determined to reach where God intended you to reach in life. Of course. And that you are still determined.
Yes.
Now, by the way, you didn't end up with just a master's degree. You have a PhD. You have a PhD in international relations from the University of Abuja.
Yes.
So, 2003, what happened?
2003, that was the time the federal government invited us and gave me a job in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Cooperation and Integration in Africa.
Ministry of Cooperation and Integration in Africa. So you were there from 2003 to 2007.
Yes, and I went for my PhD.
And you used the opportunity of being in Abuja to do your PhD in International Relations at the University of Abuja.
Yes.
Wow. Wow. And you had it in just a few years, isn't it?
It wasn't easy. Wow. Anyway, before I started my master's, I've started doing my research on concerning my thesis on what to do and specialized on. So when I started my master, it wasn't all that hard for me because I've done a lot of work on United Nations and conflict resolution, peace building, peacemaking, peace enforcement, and all that.
And you did some real serious historical and whatever work on United Nations peacekeeping missions in Africa.
So these are the things I did. So by the time I went in, I was doing my master's. It wasn't easy anyway, but I'm privileged to tell you that at the end of the day, I graduated 13 months ahead of my colleagues.
13 months?
13 months.
Visually impaired person?
I was the only visually impaired person. There was no help from anybody. There was no concession, but I was determined.
And it was not a miracle center.
It was not a miracle center at all.
I mean, well, I can only say praise the Lord. I can only imagine what a miracle that is, what what a fruit of determination and focus and it's wonderful. We can only say this is wonderful, and we praise the Lord for it. And what an encouragement this will be for all those hearing us, for all those watching us. What an encouragement will be to young people that to be visually impaired, to be impaired in our feet or in our hands, to have any physical disability does not in any way stop us from reaching where God asks us to reach.
Of course.
Because actually, are we not all impaired in one area of life or the other?
It's true.
We are.
We are.
I mean, look at me now. I am wearing glasses. I removed this pair of glasses. I cannot see the text in front of me. So I am in some way impaired.
Of course.
And then most people are impaired in one way or the other.
Of course.
So it is to be determined to overcome the challenges and still reach where God designed us to reach.
Of course.
Now, when you, during that period, you were working with Ministry of Cooperation and Integration in Africa, you did your doctorate, and then you eventually, during the period, you eventually got into Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
So we moved to Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Moved to Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Because, and secondly, I'm an expert in the United Nations, so that
made it
easier. So when we are moved to Foreign Affairs, though, I told you I got an automatic job. I was given an opportunity to decide where I want to work because of my awards. So it gave me opportunity to decide where you want to work. So I decided to start with the Ministry of Cooperation and Integration in Africa.
Yes.
And finally, the Ministry of Cooperation and Integration in Africa was merged to Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Okay.
So a few of us who were experts were selected. And we now move to Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
And it is instructive that as you go to Ministry of Foreign Affairs, it was New York you were posted to.
I started in Nigeria here before I was moved. I now was posted to New York. Since I specialize in United Nations and all my write-up and activities have been on United Nations.
You did a brief stint in the desk that is responsible for Asia Pacific.
Yes, I was in the Asian Pacific division. I work in inspectorate, foreign service inspectorate, and finally in fund faced the United Nations division. That was the last department I worked in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs before I was posted to foreign service in New York. So
you now go to the United Nations. It seems very instructive that you actually worked as Nigeria delegate to the General Assembly of the United Nations.
Yes.
Wow. I mean, that would be the dream of many people who are reading international relations and so on to appear one day in the United Nations.
Of course.
And so during that period, you went not only one day, several days to the United Nations General Assembly.
Several times.
Wow. In 2012, in 2013?
Yes. And even in 2015, in 2015, we led the delegation and the team that came with Buhari when he was newly elected, we received them in New York.
Oh, you were in New York at that time?
I was in New York, so we received them when they arrived. So, and it has been it's an interesting job. And because I was determined to do it very well, because we don't want pity. We like to do our best in our career. Of course,
with your intimidating profile, what do you mean by pity? With your intimidating profile, whoever thinks that there is any handicap, I mean, you will floor him or her.
Of course.
So, by the grace of God, you reach the highest, like at the highest level that anyone can be. Then, above all, I noticed that you are a member of the Federal Republic.
Yes.
The federal government gave you an award, member of the, and it is not a low award, Republic. It's a high one, member of the Federal Republic.
Yes. Sincerely, it was like a dream. I never knew that the federal government were following up my activities and what I do for people with disabilities. One of the things I said when I had this challenge, I asked God, if you can allow me survive this challenge, I will do my best to the society where I find myself. I will leave a mark in my generation. I will not just live as a person and just go without making an impact. So that was what happened. So I was engaged in so many things. And at the end of the day, federal government were following me unknown to me. They're following my activities, my antecedents, the scholarship, my empowerment programs, which I offer to people, my enlightenment programs and advocacy programs, which I do both on television and other places. And I interact with people with disabilities. I encourage them that they can do better than myself. So I was surprised in 2011, I was invited for the national award. So privileged enough, I thought it was might be a very small award, like medal or whatever. I was privileged to be with the richest man in Africa, Dangote, the day we are giving a national award. So on arrival, it was a wonderful thing. Up to today, I've been asking who nominated me for this award. Nobody have been able to tell me that he was the one.
A few good things still happen in our society.
I'm surprised.
That people are picked on merit.
On merit.
And I noticed that among your awards that there is one called Distinguished Associate of Society of Foreign Council.
Foreign Council. In the United Nations and most importantly the Consul General of Nigeria in New York, we belong to a society called Society of Foreign Council. Yes. Society of Foreign Council is made up of 193 countries in the world. So out of the 193 countries, they all have their offices in New York. And New York is a capital of the world.
Yes.
So privileged enough, we have been going for programs and competitions. I was privileged to be the best candidate in the competition we went for. I came first. The second person was somebody from Paris, France. So they now give me a distinguished award, international award.
You stand tall everywhere you go. I mean, this is fantastic.
And among all these diplomats and consuls that were there, I was the only one that is impaired, that's half challenge. Others have their sights and their hands.
You didn't come first among the visually impaired.
Everybody.
You came first among
everyone. The able-bodied people.
So, this is great. I mean, and we can only praise God for this. And I believe that this is a lot of inspiration for our people who have one little handicap. Oh, my father died. Oh, the world has ended. Oh, my husband died. The world has ended. To see that you go blind and the world has just begun. Life has just begun.
Of course.
And it is very encouraging for me because in spite of all the bad news in our society, this is good news.
Of course.
Your life and your achievements is good news.
Of course.
Are you married?
I'm married to a very beautiful woman.
Wonderful.
I think the most beautiful woman on earth and the most loving woman
What's the name of your wife?
My wife is Nwanoro.
Nwanoro,
yes.
Chinyere. And you have children?
Yes, I have 5 children.
5 children?
Yes.
Wow.
3 boys and 2
3
girls.
boys and 2 girls. That's the dream of many people who are going into marriage. 3 boys and 2 girls. Or 2 girls, or 2 boys and 3 girls. Wonderful. Wonderful.
I've made it 3.
Yeah. And family life has been wonderful?
So wonderful. Sincerely, my wife is a source of encouragement to me. She's so supportive. She encourages me in everything. She's always there for me.
I hope our husbands and wives are listening.
She's always there for me. And she selects my clothes, arrange them very well. That's one thing unique about me. When it comes to New York and other places I've worked, I used to be the best dressed diplomat.
Even now, I cannot compete with you in your dress.
And my wife selects my suits, selects my attires, selects my shoes.
With the right tie to match.
The right ties to match, the shoes to wear, the correct ones, And sincerely, she's a wonderful woman.
God bless her.
She's just like she's my eyes. She's wonderful.
Yeah, God bless her.
She's everything to me.
God bless her.
Yes.
So, I see that you had a lot of publications.
Yes.
Comparative analysis of United Nations peacekeeping in the Congo and in the former Yugoslavia. You did a comparative study
of that, yes.
And Nigeria was highly involved in that of the Congo.
Of course. Of course.
United Nations peacekeeping missions in Africa in general.
Yes.
impact of Nigerian civil war in the
people
to
of
the people of
Isukwatu.
Is that your village?
Yes, that's my community, my local government.
Oh, how I wish everyone could do such, write such about what happened in their place. The impact of Boko Haram insurgency in Bama,
Northeast, yes,
the impact of herdsmen versus farmers in Tivland, and so on. We need such for legacy building.
Yes.
Then role of U.S. foreign policy towards the third world countries.
Yes.
How relevant is non-aligned movement in the global affairs today?
Yes.
The non-proliferation treaty and its implications.
Yes.
Wow. Finally, I'm seeing the list of organizations in which you are chairman, you are member, you are publisher, you are president, and they are just a long list. I can just give our viewers and listeners a few. African representative, National Federation of the Blind. In Orlando, Florida. Associate member, National Federation of the Blind. That is a national, meaning American.
Yes,
in America.
Yes, in America.
New Jersey chapter, USA.
Yes.
Member, World Blind Council.
Yes.
So there's a World Blind Council. That meet. How often do you meet?
We meet at least 2 or 3 times in a year.
And you do attend these meetings?
Yes, I attend the meetings.
Wow. Member, International Disability Alliance. IDA.
We have our president, Russian President Galadima, but our office is located in New York.
In New York.
Yes.
You are publisher of Disability Voice magazine.
Yes.
Is that based in Nigeria?
In Nigeria, yeah.
Okay. You are president and founder, National Disability Empowerment Forum.
Yes.
That's your own
NGO. My own NGO.
Through which you are doing a lot of work.
That is exactly what we have the federal government, were able to support me on what I've been doing for people with disabilities.
You said somewhere before that you have sponsored up to about 50
people, yes,
people with some disabilities.
Disabilities, yes. Really, most of the times our people thought that it's better for them to go on the street and beg. And we try to encourage them that it's not the best, that you should have education, acquire education, and possibly one skill or the other to help yourself. So when they tell us they don't have the means, we encourage them. We offer them scholarship. We liaise with some organizations who come to support them. Christopher Blinded Mission and all that.
Okay.
So these are the things we do. So we give them scholarship, we assist them, we encourage them, and most importantly, those who acquire degrees, we make sure that we secure federal jobs for them. That's what my NGO does.
And you are president of West African Association for the Blind?
Yes.
How do you coordinate all, and you are still a civil servant, you are still a
public servant.
Public servant.
Yes. We have time for these programs, and anytime we are going in for it, I have to take excuse from my office. They are supportive. They'll give me the opportunity to go for my programs, maybe 2 or 3 days. I'll come back and.
So we are grateful to your superiors in the office.
They are wonderful people
who have given you the opportunity to do a lot of these things and allow you to travel here and there to do this, because it's for the benefit of the common good.
Of course, they are.
You are also member of board Nigerian Communication Commission.
Yes. We started it in 1993 when NCC started.
Yes.
The former executive vice chairman selected special people, people of different, from different areas, set of engineers, Nigerian Medical Association.
Ndukwe.
Yes, Ndukwe. And the rest of us who are specialists in our own field to form an organization called ICAF, Industry Consumer Advisory Forum, in NCC. So our duty is to advise NCC and the service providers concerning what they should do for the consumers.
We will be bringing this segment of the program to an end, Chris. Yes. I've been speaking with Dr. Chris Nwanoro, a visually impaired person, but a diplomat who has represented Nigeria at the highest levels. He's been a delegate to the General Assembly of the United Nations. He's been a consul in charge of investment and trade and other areas in the New York office, Nigerian consulate. He has served at the headquarters of Nigerian foreign mission.
Yes.
And performed all kinds of roles that can only be the envy of a lot of people. We are grateful to God for what he has achieved in our brother, Dr. Chris Nwanoro, and it is an encouragement to everyone, not only visually impaired, but everyone who has any form of disability, and all of us who face one setback or the other. Once again, Dr. Nwanoro, you are a testimony of God's goodness. It was wonderful having you in this segment, and we shall have a second segment to continue other dimensions of this discussion.
Thank you.
Let me have your hand.
Thank you very much. It's really a pleasure having me.
Why isn't it possible for a husband or a wife to say, I am sorry? Please, thank you. These are basic acts of courtesy, and yet it's lacking. Are we grooming more men and women who lack just the basic rules of courtesy?
One survey found Nigerians the most religious people in the world.
Then the next survey.
The corruption index found Nigeria, I think, the second most corrupt country in the world that same year. And then another survey found Nigerians the happiest people on earth. And so we seem to be a society of contradictions.
Once again in the studio, Dr. Chris Nwanoro. Dr. Chris Nwanoro, who has a phenomenal record profile, a visually impaired person, but who has beaten all expectations to rise to a very high height that is the envy of many who are sighted. Dr. Nwanoro, once again, you're welcome to the studio.
Thank you, Father. It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much. The last time you came, we discussed your profile and how you got blind, a third year in the University of Uyo, and
Yes.
how you lost only 2 years. There are sighted people who spend 8 years, and even after 8 years, come out with a third class. But you lost only 2 years,
Yes.
and bounced back to the same university,
Yes.
and then you went ahead beyond most of your classmates, I believe, to do a
Yes.
master's degree.
Yes.
And you started the
Finished.
master's degree while you were in the youth service,
Yes.
and then a PhD. You see, I have before me the book of Proverbs, and it says in Proverbs 24, by wisdom is built a house.
Of course.
By wisdom is a house built.
Yes.
And by understanding it is established. By knowledge, the rooms are filled with all precious and pleasant riches. Wise warriors are mightier than strong ones.
Yes.
Wise warriors
Yes.
are mightier than strong ones,
Yes,
and
that's
those who have knowledge than those who have strength.
Yes.
For by wise guidance you can wage your war, and in abundance of counselors there is victory. Wisdom is too high for fools. In the gate they do not open their mouth. I mean, what has happened to you, or what you have done by the grace of God, is an illustration of this wisdom, the pursuit of wisdom.
Yes.
And the kind of things that fools do not have time for. You applied yourself diligently to your studies.
Yes.
And now, after graduating and after working, even as you are working, you are applying yourself to all kinds of agencies
Trainings.
in order to help. Tell our viewers what you are doing now to help people who are disabled, to help people who are visually impaired, particularly.
It's really a pleasure being here again. And the fact is that people with disabilities, just like I've been actively involved, I've been actively involved in advocacy. I've been involved in enlightenment programs to tell them that there is hope for them to survive even better. I try to let them know that they don't need sympathy, but what they need is support and encouragement from their families, from the government, from the individual, from the community, and secondly to themselves. They accept the situation the way they see it, because sometimes, because they don't accept the situation, they feel bad that there is no hope for them. Just like they say, he that is down needs fear no fall. It's not like that. We can still get and do what God has destined for us to do.
So first of all, you say the person has to accept
the
his or her
situation. Yes. Knowing fully well that God allows it to happen. And what do? We'll move ahead.
And if God allows it to happen, there is a way out.
There is a way out. Sincerely, when you have challenge, that's the time you have to test your strength, your relationship with God, your faith. Is someone who doesn't have problem, you don't know the level of relationship you have with God until you have problem. When I lost my sight, people came from different areas to advise me on what to do, to tell me to go to Babalawo, tell me to go to one pastor or the other who claimed to the Babalawos who claimed that they are pastors, and at the end they don't have anything. They are just there to destroy you.
They are Babalawos who claim that they are pastors, meaning in their way of functioning, they are actually Babalawos.
Yes. One of them, one of my colleagues in the university called me, Chris, child, this thing happened. It's a terrible thing. But there is somebody I can take you to in Port Harcourt. If you go there, he's a pastor. I don't want to mention his name.
Yes, don't mention his name.
If you go there, he will do something for you, and you will see immediately. He will transfer somebody's eyes to your own, and yours will go to that person.
He will transfer somebody's eyes to
mine,
your own.
and mine will go to that person through whatever means, I don't know. But he said he's a pastor. So I now asked him, the person is transferring my eyes to, and they're taking his own to my own. So what have that person done to me? And which powers is he using to do this? So please, I'm sorry, I'm not ready for that. One of my friends came and said, Chris, if this happened to me, I will die. That's what the guy said. One of my colleagues, my student in the university. I told him, I'm not you, I will not die.
Oh, if this happens to me, I will die.
That's what he said. If it happens to him,
meaning it's like he can commit suicide.
Yes. I told him, I'm not you, I will not die.
Amen.
That's one thing unique today. He's not better than me. He's still with 1 degree. I have 3. What I have acquired in life or things I have struggled to do and the life I have been able to impart on, he has not been able to do that.
So
we are not competing.
that day when you just got blind,
yes,
you told him, I will not die.
He came to my house to sympathize with me.
Yes.
I said, Chris, can you imagine? You also have 1 year to graduate and this thing happened to you. If it's me, I will die. I said, no, I'm not you, I will not die. Sincerely, the Spirit of God came into me and gingered me and said, Chris, reject this. I rejected it with all my heart, with every faith I have in God. I will not die, I will succeed, I will not kill myself.
And that was determination.
Determination. And today, he sees me everywhere. He sees me on television, he sees me everywhere, wherever he sees me. And he gets all the information about my exploits and what I have done and how I'm imparting on lives, especially on people who have challenge.
Particularly, I mean, that is what viewers and listeners need to take note of. How I am imparting on lives.
Yes.
How I am helping people who are disabled, people who are visually impaired. How I am reaching out to them and helping them to become the best they could be.
Of course.
Because actually success in life is about reaching out to others.
To others.
It's about what you do for others, not what you do for yourself.
Yes.
So even in your situation of visual impairment, you are reaching out. How many people have you supported? Children have you supported?
Minimum of 50.
Minimum of
records,
50.
yes. In different ministries, in different organizations, parastatals, we walk straight to the Civil Service Commission, we head of service of Federation of Nigeria, and other agencies that gives employment, and we present our people. And most importantly, if they are employed, when they go there, they perform very well, exceedingly well. Because others, they take things for granted, they put in like a physical attitude and all that, but we are determined because we want to prove to the people that we can do it even with our challenge. Sincerely, before when I was seeing like any other person in the university, my target is just to go to university, have my first degree, go back to Aba because we are from Aba, go back to Aba as a trader, go and trade, and just make a meaningful life and all that. But unfortunately, when I lost my sight, and I said, what do I do to improve better? And I decided to, acquire more education, study hard, avoid distractions. Do you know that when people are playing, I will read my books over and over through my midgets, through my braille, and when I go to exam to write, sometimes people come to copy from me.
Oh, they are doing giraffe. They are doing giraffe with your stuff.
I'll just keep quiet. Because my happiness is that I stay in the same place to write so that they will not go and say, maybe the teachers are giving me marks. And after reading, Like some of them, they read their notes only once. I read my own over 20 times before coming for exam.
Wow.
Over and over and over, and I research. So when I come for my exams, I try my best to avoid anything that will make me not to perform well. At the end, I was having AAA when I lost my sight than the time I have sight.
So when you had your sight, you were having B and C.
B and C.
When you lost your sight, you were having
all
AA.
A's.
Not AA by the standard of for blind people.
No.
But you were in the university
only,
and you were the only blind person and you were taking the same exams.
The same exams.
Wow. I mean, like I said, we are really grateful to God for what He has used you to do. The point is, to what extent has this reaching out and helping people, we shall discuss further the details, helping people, to what extent has it given you fulfillment and joy and happiness?
I feel good when I help people who are challenged. Even I have imbibed the spirit in my wife. My wife has really adopted that, accepted it. Sometimes my wife will be going on the street and see people who are challenged. Tell them, go and see my husband, he will help you.
Your wife is now part of the
program. So one of them is and gave me the person my number. The person happened to be a journalist who lost his sight in 2005. So when he came, I looked at him, I interviewed him. The first thing I did was to encourage him.
Yes.
That you can survive. If Chris can survive, you can do it better. I encourage him. I stayed with him. I take him out for lunch. I play with him. I do everything to make him feel good first. And I started enlightening him and telling him what to do. Finally, I took him out. I gave him a scholarship to go to Dingiri in Jos. Where he now went. Yes, we had a special school for the blind. He went there and studied Braille and other things and came back. He was highly fulfilled.
Wonderful.
So I do that to others. So in the course of helping others, people like me, I feel good. That which means even this eye have not stopped me from doing what I would have done if I have sight. And I'm even seeing it that I'm even performing better.
Yeah. I mean, like your classmates who have not gone beyond their first degree.
First degrees, many of them.
And many of them have not gone near the near New York, not to talk of United
Nations House. They don't know where it is. The place located.
Wow. I mean, this is very inspiring. And I am concerned about, and I think that our viewers and listeners would like to know more of how you are able to make it to help. How do you travel around? I mean, from what I see, you have been to so many countries.
Yes, I've been to many countries.
So how do you travel around?
Sincerely, my office supports me a lot. And I travel alone wherever I want to go.
You travel alone?
Yes, several.
So your wife is not going with you everywhere?
No, not everywhere. I go to wherever I want to go, and most importantly, I pray and I ask God to guide me and lead me. So God has been solidly behind me.
Even these days, with all the complex security things in airports, you go alone?
I don't have problem in outside the country. It's only in Nigeria I have challenge of movement.
Oh,
when I'm overseas,
things
free,
are better organized.
You can walk freely on the pedestrian way. Nobody can hurt you. You do whatever you want to do and go freely. You don't have any challenge.
Because there is pedestrian and then you have your cane.
You have used my cane, and when the vehicles, when they see you, they will they make sure they stop to allow you move. So, but here in Nigeria, it's not like that.
So what can we do? I mean, that's why we need you on this program. So what can we do so that Nigeria can be so organized for people who have disabilities? Because, I mean, things about wheelchairs, about ramps, about even motorized wheelchairs for the elderly who cannot move around, and then having tracks that pedestrians can walk and whereby visually impaired people can comfortably go around with their cane without disturbance.
It's a very serious challenge we are having in Nigeria, and we have been advocating seriously, talking to government to ensure that they'll be disability friendly, because most of the programs, also the buildings, they are not friendly to people with disabilities. There's no ramp, there's no elevator. You know, in US, even a one-story building has elevator. Even old people, they use the elevator. Even normal people, they use the elevator. Those who have visual impairment, they have elevators. Even elevators we have here in Nigeria doesn't have the speech You wouldn't know when you get to the floor you are going to.
Yeah,
But
so
the one
so
we
the
use
elevator
overseas,
is in
it
this
has-
country don't
yes.
tell you
No,
first
don't
floor,
tell you first floor, second floor,
third floor.
third floor. No. But those ones, and in most cases, you go to some buildings, the elevators are not working. I mean, in Nigeria. But overseas, these things are there. So what we are asking government to do is to involve most of us who are experienced, who knows what it does to when it comes to issues of challenge or disability. These are the things that we need to do. Government should come to the aid of people with disabilities, provide the enabling environment to make sure that we'll be able to excel. There are programs we do overseas, what they call it assist technology. This technology is a special program that if you do it, you can work independently. You can type your work, you can do everything. You don't even need a secretary to work for. You don't need a PA to take you around.
If you get a mail, in your computer,
I read it now. I have my computers have what they call JAWS and voiceover. And Siri.
Okay, they are voiceover software.
Yes, software.
So if I send you a mail, it will read it out to you.
The text message I'm sending to you is my phone talks. So these are the technologies that's available.
I was wondering how you send text to me. I was wondering how you read my text.
I read it. I have all these gadgets that we use. So these are the things that we want to bring to Nigeria to make sure that our people will equally benefit. Do you know our organization here, National Disability Empowerment Forum, Molotus Initiative for the Blind? We are working towards building a special rehabilitation center here in Abuja. It will have an international standard that will meet up what is done in overseas, other parts of the world. So we'll be able to train these people, our people in different field empowerments, teach them on mobility, orientation, and other things so that they will be independent and work not to be a nuisance to the society, but to be a contributor toward the national development.
What you are saying is that every handicapped person in this country is handicapped in one area, but can be a genius in the other.
Of course.
So we need that genius brought out.
Yes.
We need the talents, the God-given talents brought out so that the person can not only achieve his own highest dreams, but contribute to the rest of society.
Of course.
What it means is that our inability to put all those infrastructure, the society is losing.
Of course. The society is losing.
I mean, the kind of contribution you have made, for example.
Of course.
If thousands of others are out there and they are on the streets begging, it means that when we see that beggar, that blind beggar on the street, it means we are losing what he or she would have contributed to our society.
Of course. Do you know, most of these people are very highly talented.
Of course.
They are very intelligent. Though the society we live, they don't have regard for people with disabilities. But even from the families, the parents will say, what's the need? Training this one. If I train him, what's he going to do? Let's train those who have eyes and legs. At the end, they come out to become nuisance, morons, and whatever, and cause you high blood pressure, and you will die. But most of us, I've never seen people who are challenged, who are not gifted with one talent or the other.
They actually
are
say
wonderful.
It's conventional wisdom.
They are very wonderful.
That when people are blind, their sense of feelings and other things
develop more.
Yeah, other senses develop more and smarter and so on.
Of course.
So if this person is deaf and dumb, then he has a lot to contribute in the other areas.
Of course. Of course.
But how come that our people don't know these things?
That's true. The fact is that Nigerians, because of the type of orientation, we don't have good orientation. We don't have good enlightenment. And we are not ready to develop ourselves. We don't read, we don't study, we don't listen to news. You see what's happening in other parts of the world. Why is it that we cannot do it here? Why is it that we cannot replicate it here? So sometimes from the families, they are not supportive. The government, they are not interested. The people around you, they're not, everything is just scattered. There's nothing moving on well. So that is the reason why we are having challenge today. If government come out with good policies and families supportive of those who are challenged among them, I think things will move on well.
Well, the part of the reason why a place like this is set up, the Terra Leadership Foundation, is to contribute towards raising leaders, enlightened leaders.
Yes.
Because the book of Proverbs says, chapter 29, verse 18, where there is no vision, the people perish. Where there is no leadership, where there is no godly leadership, where there is no enlightened leadership, the people perish. And it is not only the visually impaired or the disabled that perish, all the people, everybody, perish. Now, so part of the reason why we set up a place like this is so that we will be discussing the responsibilities of leadership. And projecting somebody like you is to help people to know that if we had good leadership, if we had good plans, good designs in society and follow them, then all those blind people you see on the streets begging, they could be professors in the university.
Of course. Many of them are like that in the US.
Yes.
Most of us are professors. And if you check out their records, they have a track record. Because one thing unique about us is that we try to avoid people sympathizing because he doesn't have sight, because he doesn't have legs, that's why he's not doing well. So we try to excel when we compete with those who doesn't have any challenge. So that is the reason why, if all this equipment is provided, the facilities are provided, the training, the scholarship is given to these people, they'll be able to do better. We'll be able to clear them from the streets so they will not be causing nuisance.
We have one of our friends, Sir David Osunde, yes, who has done quite some work to help people with disabilities and the Easter Monday celebrations, and there's a lot of scholarships to people to various institutions. I mean, efforts like that are highly commendable, but they are still small when it comes to the enormity of the problem.
The problem, yes.
So we need individuals, state governments, local governments, federal government, and corporate organizations and religious bodies to all be involved, right?
Yes. Just like you said, just like we are planning a lot of things for Nigerians with living with disabilities in Nigeria. So, but the fact is that we are not getting enough encouragement. We are not getting enough support from government. Take, for instance, we are trying to see if we can build up a special rehabilitation center here in Abuja. It will be one of the best in Africa. So we have traveled around the world. We know how people with disabilities are being treated, the type of skills and training they acquire that makes them,
function independently and contribute
to the society. So these are the things that we want. Take, for instance, in US, if I'm on my own, a taxi comes to pick me, take me for meeting, bring me back. So at the right time. So but here in Nigeria, most of us, they cannot access, they cannot go out, they cannot do anything. These are part of the things that we want to do in this rehabilitation center. By the time we have it, those who are challenged, the old people, those who have nobody to assist them, the blind, the deaf, the dumb, the physically challenged and all that, when they need help, we'll be able to take our vehicles to go and pick them
now
towards where they're going.
Towards all this ends, what about legal and legislative advocacy?
These are the challenges where we're having issues.
Because don't we need to advocate for legislative instruments that will make these things law, that will compel the government to do certain things?
In that area, we have done a lot. We have a bill that we sent to the National Assembly, and we have marshaled out what we need in order to help people with disabilities in Nigeria, as is done overseas, other parts of the world, even in some part of Africa. Some parts of Africa have gone ahead of us.
Yes.
So we have given assent to this bill. It has been the National Assembly have concluded it, just waiting for the presidential assent. So, but up to now, for the past 4 years, nothing is done. So we are begging the government, please kindly allow this permission to function. By the time it functions, the legislative aspect of this will be taken care of. Our people need to have representative in every aspect of the society. We need to be represented. But today in the government, just like the last appointment federal government just released, we have some portion for women and others. They didn't remember people with disabilities. People with disabilities need to be part of that.
Does your Lotus organization and other organizations, do you have lawyers that are are working on this?
Yes, we have lawyers, we have experts in different fields, and the bills we have sent, if federal government will assent to that bill, if the president will assent to that bill, I'm assuring you, the lives of people with disability in Nigeria will change, and the economy of Nigeria will be improved. The different problems we have in Nigeria will reduce. So these are the things that we're asking the federal government to remember, that people like us need to be part of what is happening in the country. And they should involve us in advocacy level capacity to advance the country, decide this is what should be done for our people. Nothing for us without us.
Now, Chris, a word for people who are listening to us, who are watching us at home or in the office, especially people who have disabilities.
Yes.
A final word of encouragement to anyone who has disabilities or who has any setback in life.
My advice to Nigerians and to everybody is that with God, everything is possible.
With God, everything is possible.
And not only that, by the time you believe in God and trust in Him, because all my achievement without God is nothing. It's God that has made it possible. And if you have your trust in God, believe in Him, everything is possible. Sight or no sight, less or no less, whatever challenge you have, God is there to take care of you.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much, Chris. Let me have your hand.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was wonderful having you. I have been speaking with Chris Nwanoro, a PhD holder in international relations. And very interesting, he did all his studies in this country up to the level of PhD. And he got blind when he was in the third year in the University of UU. And we are grateful to that university and the staff, how they helped him. And he graduated normally and went ahead for his master's and graduated and has functioned. We're also grateful to his colleagues at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs who have supported him, and all others who have supported. We are calling on all Nigerians to reach out to somebody and help the person so that the person can come back to do good to the society, to help others.
Amen.
Thank you for watching and listening to us. Chris, thank you once again for coming to the studio for the second
Thank you,
round.
Father. It's a pleasure. Thank you, Nigerians. Thank you.